Hi, everybody. I'm Debbie Belaus. I'm the owner of Qigong with Debbie. I'm a yoga, meditation, Qigong, and Tai Chi teacher. And I'm here today to talk about the fall season, the harvest, the autumn. We are approaching, well, we're in it. We started the autumn season, and I live in Arizona, and I'm originally from the East Coast, so it doesn't really feel like fall to me here. However, there is a change, and I could feel it as far as it's getting a lot cooler. Certain trees are dying off. So there is a difference between the late summer and now. But the season's all about letting go. You'll see all the leaves falling off the trees. There's this big harvest from the summer growth that we gather. And it pertains a lot to our own life. So the traditional Chinese medicine, it follows nature's cues. It's a nature-based practice, which means that we follow the seasons in this practice because the seasons have so much to tell us on many different levels. So what is it telling us today? What is it telling us for this season? Well, the theme of it is the letting go. It's about falling away. The element is metal, which is about cutting away. And when we can cut away, it helps us to cut away things that we don't want. It's kind of taking all that fruits and the vegetables that you planted and you seeded and the grew in the summer, and now you're going to weed it out. You're going to weed all the junk out, and you're going to take what's left for the season. And the same thing about our life. When you weed out things that you don't need anymore, it creates room and space for something new. And so that's what we kind of focus on in the fall season. We work with two major organs in each season, and this one is the lungs, the large intestines, and also I'm adding the skin is also one of your largest organs of your body. But those three organs are for elimination, eliminating toxins, eliminating waste. 70% of the toxins are released through the exhalation of our lungs. That's a lot. 70% of your toxins are released through the exhalation of your lungs. The other 30% is through your large intestines, through your digestive system, and also through the skin. We also release toxins from the skin. So we focus on those three organs to help eliminate, like I was talking about, letting go, that letting go of the toxins that can stagnate the body. And we do that through breathing. We do it through different sounds, healing sounds. A healing sound for this season is hiss, kind of like the sound of a tire losing its air, hiss. And also there's an animal that's related to each season as well. And this animal is the tiger. The tiger is all about courage. And the emotionality for the season is grief and sadness. So we need courage so we don't get into that, grieving period. It's okay to grieve, but we don't want to stay too long in one particular emotionality because it could vibrate those organs, the lungs and the large intestines. That's the philosophy of emotionality in the traditional Chinese medicine, that certain emotionality affects certain organs. So for this season, it's the lungs and large intestines. The emotionality is grief or sadness, and we want to balance that out. So if you have too much, that can create havoc on your body. So we do things that kind of bring up that courage to release, of letting go of whatever it is that we don't need anymore. And in that process, as you do that, as you follow these paths, as you follow the season's cues, and we flow into autumn, we come into autumn then with resilience, vitality, and ease. That's the end game here, is to not get too much grief, too much sadness. We want to be able to come into the autumn season with resilience, with vitality, and with ease. And that's what the practices are all about. There's also meridian lines, which are those energetic lines in the body. You can't see them, but you can feel them. If you've ever been to an acupuncturist, they work with your meridian lines, your energy lines. The idea is that we have these electrical cords in our body that pertain to certain organs. And then if they get clogged, it's kind of like your garden hose. If it gets clogged, you're not going to get any water out of it. It's the same thing with their body. When it gets clogged, when it gets stagnant, when it gets compressed, gets backed up. So we're also going to work with the meridian lines. So to go over the two meridian lines that we're going to be working with a lot are the lungs and the large intestines. Now the lung meridian line starts right about here, and then you'll follow it on the inside of the arm to your thumb. and then it jumps over to the second finger, pointer finger, and then the large intestines come up the outside of the arm. It goes to the back of the shoulder, it comes to the side of the neck, and then it crosses over to the other side of the nose. It's the only meridian line that crosses over in the body. And it's the same thing on this side. So it starts here, the lung meridian slides down the inside of the arm to your thumb. It jumps over to the pointer finger. It comes up the outside of the arm, goes to the back of the shoulder blade, to the side of the neck, and it crosses over to the other side of the nose. So these are the two meridian lines. So we're going to be doing a little practice with the meridian lines coming together and working with these two organs of the lungs and large intestine. A lot of them, as you can see, these two meridian lines are all in the arms and these two fingers. The other meridian lines are, the feet, the legs, and so on. But for these two, it's just the arms are in the meridian lines. So the practice I'm going to show you today, we're going to do a little bit of Qigong, a little bit of Tai Chi, and it's all, I call it polishing the lungs. It's strengthening our lungs through the breath, through the movement, and using our energy in our hands to move that energy through the lungs and large intestines. So what I like to use also, which really helps me, the other thing is that you want to be careful that, since the lungs are so front and center for this time of year, you want to be careful that once you start feeling some phlegm building up in either in your nose or in your throat or in your chest, that's an indication that you need to really take some extra care of the lungs. And tapping is a great thing to do. Like, just keep tapping this whole region of the lung area, and that'll help break up some congestion. The other thing I like to use is a little peppermint oil. Now, I just put this in this little vial, and then what I'll do is just kind of sniffing in. This also gives you a lot of energy too. I love this when I'm driving. If I'm feeling drowsy, I'll just kind of take a whiff in a little bit, and it just opens up my lungs. It opens up the cavities in my nose and helps with also in my throat. So just like a little trick that you can also use to help with the support of your lungs. And what else I want to say? So that's what we're going to be focusing on. Again, the meridian lines of the body for the lungs and large intestine, the tiger, the hiss sound, the healing sound of hiss. And that's about it for now. And so for the next couple of months, that's what I'm going to be focusing on, introducing you to some new movements that you can add to. I like to think them of as tonics. These are natural tonics that can help support your body in a very natural way. And that's what I love about it. It's natural. It's nature-based. It's 5,000-year-old practice. They fine-tuned it. They have you, and it's also been modernized for our lifestyle, for this time of our life. But let's get started. Let's come up to standing. Just move this to the side. And we'll come to standing. I'm going to right off go to some stimulation of the body. So we're going to do what's called shaking the 9 gates. This helps to get the body stimulated. So before we do polishing of the lungs, this whole movement that I'm going to be doing in a bit is about polishing the lungs. So you just start with shaking the 9 gates. I do this every day. It's a great way to get some stimulation and circulation to your body. It's also really good if you have arthritis. It's the joints. It's shaking the 9 gates. Your 9 gates are your major joints in your body, which are your ankles, your knees, your hips, your wrists, your elbows, and your shoulders, and your neck. And then add some bouncing to it. Now you're going to get more stimulation. So we're trying to stimulate the body for now. We're trying to get the body circulated. Again, stuck energy causes inflammation. Inflammation causes pain. Too much pain starts to create, some sort of disease. So we want to stop something in its infancy before it gets worse. So just shaking the 9 gates is a very simple way to get that stimulation in the body, to get that circulation in the body of all your fluids. We're 65% fluids, and the rest of us is mass. So we're more fluid than mass in the body. So we've got to get this moving. Jumping up and down on the heels is really activating those calf muscles to help release your lymphatics, your lymphatic fluids to go to your lymph nodes. Your lymph nodes release the toxins. Now we're going to do a purging breath, and this breath we're going to be using quite a bit because, as I mentioned, 70% of your toxins are released through the exhalation of your breath, 70%. And this season's all about letting go. This season's all about releasing toxins. This season's all about letting go of things that don't serve us, positive, in a positive way, so we can bring in something new. We're going to harvest. We're going to harvest our our own body, releasing and letting go. So then we can open up to a new season, open up to something different, something more positive, adding. It's hard to add something into our life if we're clogged up. We've just got too much on our plate. So we're going to let go of things that don't serve you anymore. That could be your diet. That could be people sometimes. That can be an old habit that you want to break. So we're going to let go and stimulate and release the toxins. So inhale through the nose and exhale out through the mouth like you're blowing out a candle, and release 70% of your toxins through the exhalation of your breath. You're starting to activate your lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is all about releasing toxins and eliminating. So keep shaking, lift the corners of your mouth up into that inner smile. I talk about that a lot in my other videos, and then stop. Hopefully you're feeling some tingling here. Now we're just going to move the arms forward and back. You can also, again, bounce a little bit here. The next one I'm going to do is called Monkey Leaps from the Tree. So Monkey Leaps from the Tree is going to help release, again, toxins from the lungs especially. And we're going to use a little bit of sound here. As you inhale up, stretch, and as you exhale, you're compressing. They call it monkey because it kind of looks like a little monkey playing in a tree. So we inhale up, exhale out. So do a side stretch, inhale up, a little bit of a back bend if you want. Exhale, you're going to compress here. So you're compressing and exhaling out the lungs. 70% of your toxins are released through the lungs. And then, again. So we'll do this a couple more times. Monkey leaps from a tree. Inhaling up. Exhale out. Inhaling up. Exhale out. Inhaling up. Exhale out. And then settle in. The next thing we're going to do tiger claw. I mentioned the tiger symbolizing courage. We want courage. If we're feeling sad, it takes a lot of courage to get out of sadness and grief. So we inhale using tiger claw. We're using tiger claw because we're activating those meridian lines I talked about in those fingers. We inhale, and as we exhale, it's H-I-S-S. Hiss. Releasing the toxins from the lungs, inhaling up, exhale, hiss. Let it all out, inhaling up, hiss. Letting it all out, inhaling, hiss. Letting it all out, inhaling, hiss. And then release and come back up to neutral. The next one, we're going to open up this whole region of the body again, opening up and broadening the lungs, expanding the lungs. We're going to inhale, gather the clouds to make a pillow. You're going to lean back into your head into your hands, and then you can lean back into a little bit of a back bend. As you exhale, you're going to compress, tuck your tailbone under, tuck your chin in. And then we inhale again, inhaling, gathering the clouds to make a pillow, lean back. And as you exhale, compress. Inhaling, gathering the clouds to make a pillow, lean back, and exhale, compress. Inhaling, gathering, make a pillow, a little bit of a back bend, and exhale, compress. And then slowly release. We're going to activate our meridian lines. Let's activate our hands a little bit. We're going to go right into some tapping. This is called tapping all the body. Again, this is all for stimulation. We're just going to tap around the eyes. Again, if you start to get stuffy in the sinus, this is a nice thing to do to get rid of some of that congestion. Tap around the mouth and the jaw. You're going to tap your ears. We usually tap the whole body, but I'm just going to do the upper body for now, since we're focusing on the lungs and large intestines. Tapping the throat, and then you're going to tap right here by the lungs. You're going to tap your thymus gland right in the center of your sternum. Thymus gland's right behind the sternum. It helps to produce white blood cells for your immune system. And then we tap along this whole region right by the clavicle bone, right to that meridian 1 of the lungs. We come down the inside, tapping the inside. So this is the lung meridian to the thumb. Flip your hand over, point your finger, and then come up the arm to the back of the shoulder blade, to the side of the neck, to the opposite side of the nose. And we're going to do that again. We're going to tap lung meridian 1. We're going to come down the inside of the lung meridian to the thumb, turn your hand over, point your finger, and you tap up to the back of the shoulder blade, to the side of the neck, to the other side. So we're activating these meridian lines again to open up the lungs, to open up the large intestine, to get the skin prepared also, and then cross over. We're going to do the other side, tapping that thymus gland, tapping all this region by the clavicle bone right to the nest. That's meridian number 1 for the lungs, down the inside of the arm, stimulating that lung meridian to the thumb, to the pointer finger, outside of the arm, to the back of the shoulder blade, side of the neck, to the other side of the nose. And then we'll do this again. And, just breathe normally. Don't worry about your breath, make sure you're breathing. But we're just breathing in and out, tapping and stimulating the lungs and the large intestine. And then we'll do this again, stimulating to the thumb, second finger, up the arm, back of shoulder, side of the neck, to the other side of the nose. So you should feel a little bit stimulated now. Let's do a little bit of twisting here, knocking on the door of life. Your kidneys are your door of life. Your kidneys are your wellspring. They move all your fluids. So we're talking about moving and stimulating the fluids. You move the lymphatics to go to your lymph nodes, through the lymph nodes, and we exhale out all the toxins through the exhalation of the breath through the lungs. So we're stimulating some of these other points, the kidney point, and then you can go into the knocking on the lungs as well, again, stimulating that lung area. And continue with that purging breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. And you can turn it all the way around as long as you don't get dizzy. If you get dizzy, just keep your head centered. So a little bit of a twist for the spine. So preparing the spine for a little bit of that lung polishing to activate the lungs and large intestines, and then slowly release and bring it down. Noticing how you feel. Hopefully you feel somewhat stimulated. Now we're going to go into polishing. So let's rub our hands, get some activity in the hands. Your hands and your feet are highly sensitive to energy. So it's a good place to start in understanding how do we cultivate energy. You can't see it, but you feel it. And then you're going to scrub your knuckles really briskly, and then stimulate your nails, brush the nails together. And now you should feel this magnetic feeling a tingling between the palms of the hands. That's your energy arriving. Now, as we inhale, pretend you have this energy ball in your hands. And as you inhale, you're expanding the energy ball. And then as you exhale, we bend the knees a little bit, compress a little bit, and compress that ball. So we're inhaling, we're breathing in through the nose. You can exhale out through the mouth, releasing those toxins, inhaling, expanding a little bit further. And as you exhale, compress, inhaling, feeling this breath vibrating in and out. Expand the breath, expand your lungs, compress the lungs. Inhale, expand, open up, maybe back bend a little bit. As you exhale, compress. Now this time you're going to turn the ball. So one hand's up and one hand is down. And then we're going to do the same thing, expand and compress. So you can exaggerate a little bit as you inhale, rising up, expanding the energy and compressing. So we're using this energy field to polish the lungs, to get the lungs ready for the season, to keep them clear of any kind of fluids, any kind of buildup of phlegm or mucus. So we're compressing and then expanding. Now this time you're going to raise one arm up and one arm down. This is called separating heaven and earth, separating the energies. Come back to center, compress, switch the ball, and separate the arms, separating the energy now. Come back and compress, turn and separate heaven and earth. This is called separating heaven and earth, but we're separating the energy. We're creating space in our bodies. We're creating space in the organs and separating heaven and earth, and then release, then let it go. And then we're going to lift up the energy up and then release the energy down. You're going to lift up the energy and release. Lift up the energy again. You're going to open up the energy out to the side and release back down to earth. Inhale, lifting up the energy. Exhale, releasing the energy down. Inhale, lifting up the energy, open up the energy, and release back down to the earth. So we're polishing, we're stimulating. Release, lift up, open, and return. And again, lifting up and down, lifting up and out. Now this time we're going to cross over the arms, cross over right by the lungs, inhaling, crossing over, exhale, returning, inhaling, crossing over. So we're moving the energy in many different directions, really focusing on the lungs here, trying to move that energy, opening up the lung space for this time of year, really paying attention to our lungs. We're crossing over and then release. Now we're going to inhale, we're going to lift the energy up all the way up to the sky and stretch here. And then you're going to gather, it's called gathering seeds. We gather the seeds and we plant them. We're planting the seeds into the soil. And then we come up again, lifting up the sky to the sky, stretch, open and gather the seeds, and then plant the seeds. Plant the seeds in the soil. And then we lift up to the sky energy, stretching here, gathering the seeds, and then planting the seeds and separating. Then again, inhaling all the way up, gather the seeds, and then plant the seeds. Now, since we planted the seeds, everything is grown. Now we gather the earth and we gather the harvest. We gather that harvest energy and we bring it through our body, gathering the harvest. All that energy from the summer is now at the harvest. It's a beautiful energy to gather and bring it through you. Let it move through you. Let that harvest energy move through you. And continue to breathe, continue to smile. Enjoy the energy movement through your body, outside your body, around your body. And then let that just settle down. Talking about the meridians, the thumb and the second finger, we're going to touch them together, activate those meridian lines. And then we lift up to the lungs. We're going to push out forward and then open up and then return again. So we're activating these two meridian lines to the lungs. We're pushing out, we're opening, and then we let go. 2 meridian lines, we're lifting up to the lungs, pushing out, open up, and then let go. And then again, lifting up, pushing out, open up, and let go. And then gather all this energy that you just cultivated, this polishing of the lungs, bring the energy back down, and then inhale again, back to the lungs. And now we're going to gather one more time. We're going to smooth all this energy out. You're going to bring the energy down the back of your body, gather that earth energy, lift it up to the front of the body, all the way up and out. Gather that energy, bring it down the back of the body. So we're smoothing out this energy. We're smoothing out the lungs. We're smoothing out the large intestines. We're smoothing out all this energy that we have and that we gathered. And then from here, taking this energy and just do a circle around your head to clear out anything, any thoughts or anything you don't want to hold on to for now. Just clean out your brain. Just like, you shut down your computer, you need to shut down the brain, even if it's for a second. It makes a big difference. So we're polishing now, we're polishing the brain, clearing it out, and then bringing the hands right to your lungs and all that energy that you cultivate, just hold that right at your lung space. Take some deep breaths in and out. And then from here, we're going to, let's see, what else should we do? Let's again, do a little bit of harvesting again, releasing, gathering the harvest one more time and releasing, opening up that path, that flow to autumn. You feel a little bit more stimulated, activated, especially in the lungs. Let's lift it up to the lungs again. And again, just hold that space there. Maybe bring the palms of your hands together. And then we're going to bring the legs together. And we'll bring the hands to the belly. And then we sway like a bamboo in the wind, just kind of letting go of anything that feels a little stagnant. Where the mind goes, the energy will flow. So we're just letting go. Just like the leaves on the trees, they start to let go very naturally. That's what we're doing. We're letting go very naturally, feeling the harvest of our life. And then we're going to balance the energy, gather the energy from one side and just bring it down the whole center line of your body. So now we're balancing all this energy back into ourselves, feeling balanced, feeling resilient, feeling ease, feeling vitality. And that's what these practices can bring for us. Resilience for this time of year, vitality, and ease. And just notice how you feel. It's that simple. Thank you for joining me today. I hope I explained what the fall season is to bring for us. I'll try to post a a video at least once a week pertaining to what I'm teaching at the moment. If you like my video, subscribe to it so you get notified that my video is coming through. Thanks so much, and be well, everyone.